Isreal Adesanya.
It wasn't what he sold it to be.
I'm not a fan, man. I'm not a fan of coming out like all that talk and then putting on a pitter patter.
Israel walkouts are more entertaining than my fights at Adesanya. At least with wrestling, there's the element of jeopardy. I'm a casual. What Adesanya does is try his best not to fight at all. Had a hard time sleeping. He almost broke his leg. What a fight. Izzy, the greatest name goes. What's happened here? After another successful title defense for Izzy, he's going through more heat and criticism from the community than most fighters get after a loss. But how much of that was his fault, and is he a bad champion? Firstly, let's start with the main criticism. He promised a spectacle and said he was going to do something special but didn't. So, doesn't every fighter do that? Nobody can fully predict exactly what's going to happen or what state of mind they'll be in on fight night. As Izzy said, he had an off night.
On my worst day, I can kill the best man. I call that suicide. On my worst day, on the off night, I had an off night tonight.
He was planning and visualizing on doing something spectacular and he believed he would. But on fight night, maybe he just couldn't get out of first gear, maybe he wasn't there mentally, who knows? But he still got the job done. Not everyone is fucking Mystic Mac, Mr. Talk the talk, walk the walk. There's a reason why Connor's ascendancy was so celebrated. The consecutive spot-on predictions and spectacular finishes are a rarity. Having predictions that are inaccurate are far more common than having predictions that actually come true. So why is this an issue now? The disparity between what Izzy talked up and believed in before the fight, in contrast with the actual fight itself, is not rare at all. Just ask his opponent.
And we're gonna turn Izzy Adesanya into Izzy. It's gonna be easy Adesanya.
Just ask Max Holloway.
You guys be blessed if we go above 3.
After 5 rounds.
Just ask Mystic fucking Mac himself.
No, he's getting taken out on a stretcher.
The amount of hate being directed at him for this reason from fans and celebrities alike is kind of unbelievable considering the fact that Izzy was actively pushing the pace in this fight, a step up from some of his previous. It's not like Izzy was avoiding exchanges or standing in the middle of the octagon with his hands up like the statue of fucking God Romero. So why does the blame even fall on Izzy? Because he has great distance management and can neutralize almost any striker in the world? Crazy. The issue we have with Izzy now is an issue we had with GSP back in the day. George is, in my opinion, the greatest fighter of all time. Yet, he had multiple lackluster decisions and boring fights. People forget, he caught a lot of flack for this way back, but now, after he's called it a career and we can look back and appreciate his greatness in hindsight, we see his career with rose-tinted glasses and gratitude for what he gave us. The problem with both Izzy and GSP is that everyone knows what they're going to do. George was going to point fight with the jab and double leg you. Izzy is going to defend all your takedowns and pick you apart on the feet. There's no mystery with these two. This is likely what's making the fight so boring for Izzy. Everybody's either going to try taking him down, or avoid engaging through fear of being knocked out by the superior striker. Other than maybe Alex Pereira, there's not a man in the middleweight division right now who can win a technical stand-up fight against Izzy. The only chance for somebody to beat him is to either control him on the ground, or catch him with something unexpected. Other than Jan, nobody has been able to do either of these things. Rob and Kelvin both tried to catch him, but look what happened to them. To put themselves in the position to beat Izzy, these challengers have to risk being finished brutally. Rob and Kelvin are winners. They put themselves in the position to beat him by throwing themselves into the fire. It just so happens that both of them ended up falling short. It's really no surprise that after Izzy knocked out Rob and nearly finished Kelvin, every single one of his next opponents refused to meaningfully engage with him on the feet. None of them are willing to risk doing what Rob and Kelvin did after seeing how it ended for them. Which, I guess makes sense, but it also led to Izzy going from two of the best fights of 2019 and spectacular performance after spectacular performance to being labelled as the most boring champion ever by critics online. People say it's because he has the belt, and he's the one who has to protect it, which is why the fights have become boring. But I don't see it that way. His fighting style hasn't changed drastically since his title reign began, simply implementing more hand fighting and leg kicks. He's always taken somewhat of a safe approach to fights. In my opinion, it's his opponents that have changed. They went from pressing the fight and leading the dance in hopes of catching him, to everybody losing faith in their abilities to catch him and accepting a slow defeat on the outside. Nobody is willing to risk it anymore. And if they're playing it risk-free and technical, nobody plays that better than Izzy. Unless... Hey! Do you agree with me? Disagree? Somewhere in between? Leave it down below and I'll respond. If you liked my video, like it. Please. Helps me out. Subscribe too. That'll help out a lot. Late MMA, Isreal Adesanya, forever.